morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Buddha, thank you very much for the confirmation. So I can see only 5 students up to now. 5 students. Okay. We'll wait about 2 minutes. And please ask our good students to join. Okay. Because today it's going to be a very important session because I'm going to discuss a case study with you, which is, it's in fact, I'm taking a past examination question and I'm going to tell you how to exactly do everything. That will be important for your individual analysis, case analysis, as well as it will be important for your group analysis. So today is a very, very important day because and it's going to be on video. That means it will be recorded indeed. Even at the moment, it's getting recorded. So I encourage my good students to take part actively and listen very carefully and ask questions if you do have any questions or concerns. Okay, so we'll do it very interactively. Of course, I'm not going to ask any one of you any questions. You can voluntarily answer, right? It's completely up to you. You're adult students, so I'm not going to go after you and tell, okay, that and this. So it's up to you, Buddha, because it will be very embarrassing if I ask you a name, if I tell you a name and ask to answer questions, and if you are not answering, it will be quite embarrassing. And those days I even came up with hypotheses, but I think those are not required. You are adult students. You know the consequences if you don't study. So why should I police, right? So I shouldn't go out of my scope. I'm a teacher. I'm a lecturer. Being a lecturer, what I could do is I could show you the path. And particularly in university. Now, if you were 5-year scholarship students, or maybe, I don't know, 7 or 8 years old, I could have come behind you with a cane and try to hit you and do things, right? And to make you study. But indeed, you are about 20, I believe. All are young adults, right? So you know the consequences. So if you don't study, you know what will happen. At the exam, you will, at the assignments, at the exam, you will be failing. So therefore, I'm not going to ask anyone. So voluntarily, if you want, you can answer any questions, right? But on the other hand, I'm not going to go after and tell that and this, right? So don't expect me to do that because I think better to uh, respect you being adults. But again, remember, with that liberty, you get the responsibility as well. If you are not engaged, if you are not going to study, you will also have to take the responsibility, right? So that's completely up to you. Okay. So I'm not going to have some internal control mechanisms like to call your names and ask you to explain what's there. So therefore, my recommendation to you is to study, right? Engage actively. You might think, no, sir, we'll do this sometimes later when time is there, this and that. But usually my experience indicates, right? Usually, right? My experience indicates that that time never comes unless you allocate time now and study, sit and study and do your studies, right? These are friendly kind of an advice that I could give all of you that will be quite healthy and which will be important for your future, right? Okay, all right. So always, Uta, now you are adults. So take the responsibility of your lives. Don't wait till your parents or teachers or lecturers or whoever come after you and make you do things. As young adults, having discretion, right? Use the discretion and the freedom and everything responsibly. Because if not, finally you are going to have the consequences. You are going to get the consequences, right? So therefore, keep that in mind. Right. With that advice as well as guidance, let me know. So we have about 18 students. Okay, Kuta. Uh, in fact, yes, about 17, 18 are there. So I would welcome all of you and great to see you all and welcome to today's lecture. Today I'm going to discuss a very important case study, which will be important for all of your assessments for your final ESC end semester examination paper. You will have, I told you, there will be a case study. Today I'm going to discuss a similar case study. This case study style you can adopt in your individual assignment as well as in your group assignment as well. A much more expanded version. But however, it's up to you. So I will allow you to study this, internalize this, because today actually it will be a kind of a revision as well. You will see I'm going to apply all the techniques I taught you up to now, right? So it's a critical session today. And I think discussing that today is the most appropriate time rather than taking to the tail end, then it might be too late, right? So I'm going to be very effective and efficient today in teaching you these things, right? Is that clear? Okay. So it's up to you, Putha, to study or not, right? I'm not going to go after you. And so it's your adults. Being adults, I hope you will take the complete responsibility of your life, right? Okay, I'm getting these things, I would say. So already I think I'm in the meeting, so I don't need to join again, I believe. Okay, right. I don't know name. Got it. So it's offering me some offers, right? So I hope this is your LMS, right? So you are 16CDWD, 16CWE. Am I correct? Can someone please confirm?
Yes, sir.
Very good. Thank you very much. Right, Putha. Now let's go to so week 10, right? So please go to week 10 and download these two files. Music Premium Case Study, final with questions. Right. So let's, yes, parenthesis is missing. Right. Okay, and also the Music Premium database. The relevant database for this case study is this. So please download it. And today's a very special session that will really help you to earn almost 50, 60 marks in your end semester examination, right? I'll tell the difference as well. What's going to be different from this what I teach you and the end semester examination, right? We'll discuss that later. So please download it and open it. So, right, download both, right? I have already done it. So particularly I prepared this particular case study for you all. So I'm going to open the Word file. So case studies, case studies, case studies. I'm using now case studies for teaching because it's very practical and you can learn a lot. Okay, I think you can see the case study clearly. Can you see my screen photo? So now you are also required to develop a case study. Yeah, this is a very brief case study, but I have given you guidelines to develop a good case study, right? On a particular theme. Now, this is about a music premium app, right? That I'm going to discuss. So you will see, then after that, there are several questions that are there that we are going to address and we are going to learn today, right? So we'll go one by one, right? So if you look at the past papers, similar questions have come. The only difference is here in the lecture, we are going to use data and generate the outputs and interpret that. At the exam, you will be given the outputs in appendices, right? Then you have to just refer the output and explain. So today we are going, we are doing an extra step. We are going to use data, generate the outputs, right? So it's going to be a comprehensive discussion today. So take part actively and very carefully listen. And if you have any questions, concerns, you can ask them. Okay, so let's go through. Case study, music premium app. With an entrepreneurial spirit, a group of graduates expect to introduce a music streaming app and has launched a trial version with all premium features for a limited time. So this is a music app. Now let's say you have put together and you have introduced an app. Let's say SAB music app, right? They intend to know the purchase intention and other dimensions of the premium music app and distribute a self-administered questionnaire among the trial users. The questionnaire is available in Appendix A. Now, if you go to Appendix A, right, here you have in Appendix A, the questionnaire is there. Right, the music premium apps. So then it says, okay, the question is there where it was given. Now, you are also supposed to create a questionnaire, right? In your individual assignment, you need to create a question, right? The questionnaire is available in Appendix 1 of the end of this case. The questionnaire consists of two parts. Part A consists of demographic characteristic of trial users, and Part B consists of dependent and independent variables. So let's see what are the independent and dependent variables in a short while, right? These variables are measured using a 5-point Likert scale. The questionnaire was developed based on a literature survey and then delivered, directly created and distributed. The data were collected from number of users and not the state SPSS. I change it to Stata dataset, right? The Stata dataset music premium database, not SAV, right? It should be DTA. Make that change, right? Even if you don't do that, that's no problem. But again, it's a Stata dataset I given you, which is music premium database DTA, which you downloaded just a little while ago. Quite heavy investment is expected to be made in further developing, launching, and promoting and maintaining this app. And therefore, the group of accounting students that you has requested you, again, a data analyst, that's you, to perform an analysis of the collected data and provide them with insights. Now, remember, now you are a set of students among you have got together and you are trying to launch a music premium app. And the thing is now to launch an app as well as to maintain, develop and other things, etc., you require huge investment. So before doing that, right, you have launched a trial version to see whether there's a purchase intention, right? So the conceptual framework for your ease of understanding is given like this. At the exam, you won't be given this, but again, right, for the explanatory purposes, at the exam, you'll be asked to draw a conceptual framework, right? You'll be asked to draw a conceptual framework, right? At the exam, you won't be given very clearly what are the independent and dependent variables. You won't be given. So to understand the independent and dependent variables, you can go and see the appendix. In the appendix, you can see first a cover letter is there. And then comes the section A, demographic factors. Gender is there, age, right? And marital status are there. So gender and marital status are what? Those are categorical variables. While age is a continuous variable because you can write anything here. It can take any value. Then the highest academic education, that's again a categorical variable. Monthly income, that's a categorical variable because here categories are given. The monthly income, if you ask to write the exact income that they are receiving in rupees, then it would have been a continuous variable. Then the occupation, again a categorical variable. How do you listen to music? Categorical. What platforms do you mostly use to listen to music? Again categorical. Likewise. Then comes section B. Now look very carefully. These are Likert SQL questions. And see, you can see one variable named as opinion leadership is there. But you can see to measure this one variable, now these one of the independent variables, opinion leadership, and then functional value. Then you can see emotional value, then conditional value, and epistemic value, as well as finally social value. Right? You will see that these are the independent variables. If you look at the conceptual diagram, it's there. Then you can see the dependent variable is given as purchase intention. Right? That's listed usually at the end of the questionnaire. There's no convention to do that. It can even be at the beginning. But purchase intention here, you can understand is the dependent variable. Then automatically in section B, all others are independent variables. Right? So keep that in mind. So there's one dependent variable, and how many independent variables are there? So opinion leadership is one. Functional value 2. Emotional value 3. And conditional value 4. Epistemic value 5. And then finally social values there 6. So you can see that by looking at the conceptual diagram. Can you see this? Right? You can see the conceptual diagram here. You can see the dependent variables there, purchase intention. That's where you see whether these guys, the trial users, would purchase this app. And then you can see there are 6 independent variables. The opinion leadership, functional value, social value, emotional value, conditional value, and epistemic value. You can see the arrows are pointing towards purchase intention. So these are what? These are the independent variables and these the dependent variable. Is that clear? So first of all, try to understand. If you are given a case, try to understand what are the independent and the dependent variables. Right? By looking at the case, you should be able to know it was telling that you are trying to see the purchase intention of the trial users. Then naturally you can understand that becomes the dependent variable. Right? So it says in part B, you have the independent and dependent variable. So there could be only one dependent variable in a given study, right? In this case, of course. And so in part B, all other becomes the independent variables. Clear? And I have depicted that at the exam, you might be asked to, right, understand the case and then identify what are the independent and dependent variables and draw this conceptual diagram. This is called a conceptual diagram that links between the independent and the dependent variables. Right? Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Very good. Okay, great. Now Putha will come into questions. So state the possible quantitative research objectives based on the case given above. Now, even for your individual assignment, you should come up with the objectives, isn't it? First of all, what are your objectives of your study, of your case? Now, here, what are the objectives? In fact, when it comes to a quantitative study, you would have 3 objectives. Usually, you could have 3 objectives for a quantitative study. What are these? One, I could say, okay, I'm just giving, these are not model answers. I'm just giving some step answers on the sketch. So you could have 3 quantitative objectives usually. One, to assess. Always an objective should start with 2, right? To assess the level of purchasing intention. purchase intention of trial users versus the level of purchase intention of the trial users of this music premium app, right? So that's the first, that could be the first one to see the level of purchase intention, right? Level of purchase. So let's make this all red color. So these could be your, then the second one could be what? To examine the difference between an amount following groups to examine the difference of purchase intention. Let's say of purchase intention between an amount following groups. What are the groups? You can take demographic groups. Maybe we'll take gender and marital status. Right, marital status. We'll take only two just for, but you can take any other demographic factors as well. Then we'll go to the third one. The third objective usually in a quantitative study, what? To examine the impact, or the you can say the impact, or let's say first of all relationship between, you could say the relationship between the independent variables between the six. Better name that. What are those? I'm not going to name that. 6 independent variables. Independent variables and the purchase intention. Right. Then the sixth objective, the fourth objective, which is very, very related to this, but the analysis differs. I take exactly as it is. So since examine I use 3 times, I'm going to say investigate. So I'm going to say to investigate the impact of the 6 independent variables and the purchase intention. So you can see there are 4, right? In fact, we can combine C and D and we can make it one objective. Because usually you don't look at relationship, you look at the impact. But I made it, right, as a matter of completion. So in that case, rather than 3 quantitative objectives, you can have 4 quantitative objectives. To see the level of purchase intention, to see the level of a variable, then to examine the differences of purchase intention, right? Then to see the relationship, right? And you're going to see the impact, right? Is that clear? Okay. So now tell me, right? Again, it's completely voluntary. You can answer that on a voluntary basis. I'm not going to tell any names, right? It's up to you, right? First is, my question is, okay, the first quantitative objective is to see the level of purchase intention. Can someone tell me what kind of quantitative analysis that you are going to do to see the level of purchase intention? Anyone? Level of purchase intention, how can you see that? How can you check that?
By using descriptive analysis.
Very good. Excellent. Excellent. Very, very good. By using descriptive analysis, particularly mean, and also you can use, if you want, standard deviation as well to see the discrepancies of the purchase intention. Excellent. Perfect. Really happy about the student who answered. Let's use Grammarly. I'm using Grammarly. So Grammarly is giving some nice suggestions. So let me also incorporate them. Okay. Following groups. These are cosmetics, right? Okay. Right. Next question. So you are spot on. I'm very happy that one student came up with the proper answer. Descriptive statistics. With the level you perform descriptive statistics. Then the second one is to examine the difference in purchase intent. So there is difference in purchase intent, right? What's the analysis that you perform? If it is gender,
Frequency analysis.
frequency. That's to understand, isn't it? Now I want to see the difference, but I want to see whether males and females are different in terms of purchase intent. Thank you for your attempt, and please feel free to make any mistakes at the class. Right? It's perfectly fine. Anyone else? No, I told you.
Test of differences.
That's what I wanted. Test of differences. Particularly what test that you will be performing. Now you are comparing two groups, right?
Two independent sample tests.
Independent. Not paired, Putha. It's independent sample t-test because you have males and females as two independent groups. So for the gender, you are spot on. You are very correct, right? You will be performing an independent sample t-test. Perfect. Right. Thank you. Then to compare marital status. Now, marital status has more than two groups, right? If you go and see the questionnaire, marital status has how many groups? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 groups. So if you want to compare 5 groups, what's the test that will be performed?
One-way ANOVA.
Excellent. One-way ANOVA. Right? If you perform generic one-way ANOVA, you will get overall difference. And if you want to know specific group-wise differences, what will be performed?
Bonferetti ANOVA.
Yes, one-way ANOVA with post-hoc analysis. Bonferenis. You can perform Bonferenis analysis, right? Or Tukey's analysis, whatever. It's okay. You can perform and you can see whether significant group-wise differences are there, right? Okay. Then if you want to, because we need to clarify this first of all. So even in your own research studies that you are going to perform in SAB or maybe anywhere else in the future, this is what you need to know. Level, descriptive statistics, difference, t-test or one-way ANOVA plus post-hoc analysis. And then if you want to see the relationship between the 6 independent variables and the dependent variable versus integer, what's the analysis you are going to perform? Relationship. If you want to do the relationship, what's the analysis that you perform? You know, I know that you know the answer. So
Correlation.
correlation analysis. Very good. You perform correlation analysis, right? And then finally, to see the impact of the 6 independent variables on it should be on, right? In fact, on the purchase intention, what's the analysis you perform?
Regression.
Regression analysis. Excellent. Regression analysis. So that's confirmed. You came up very well. Now see, some students gave the answers and I'm really happy even some students attempted, right? But some students were completely silent. I don't know whether they knew the answer, but probably maybe not, right? But now again, all of you will be going for the same exam. And some people will be getting A pluses, and some people will be getting fail grades, unfortunately. Right? Therefore, if you work hard, again, there's only one formula to be successful in your life. What's that? Work hard. That's it. Full stop. Right? Work hard. You'll say, sir, work smart. Of course, you all are smart. And probably that's a given fact. You all are smart. If not, you cannot be at SAB. You are at SAB because you are smart guys. Then what distinguishes you from others is working hard. Right? I know some people, they work extremely hard. And in my life, I have seen them. They might not be extra brilliant, not super brilliant, but working hard compensates that gap between being super brilliant and a normal student. So I have seen some super brilliant students who are very lazy, right? And they end up being quite unsuccessful in their lives. But then I see some average students, right? They work extremely hard and they achieve ultra success in their lives. Not just success, they achieve ultra success in lives. Right? That's what I could say. My experience indicates so after teaching thousands of students. Not thousands, I don't know. I think it's around 100,000 or 200, or maybe I think millions of students, let's say. Right? So each year, you can make the math, right? Each year, how many students I teach. I teach, I think, each year about 500, 600 students at Jayawardhanapur, at SAB, and elsewhere. Maybe even 800 students. Each year. Let's say 1,000 students. 1,000 into 10, 20. Yes. It's almost 20, 30,000 students, isn't it? That I have taught. My experience indicates that, right? That success depends on your effort, right? Not merely on brilliance. Okay, never mind about that. So if you want to be successful, work hard. No other shortcut. Okay. So I think I clarified the 4 objectives and what are the specific analysis that you have to do, right? Now, one more thing that I would like to see the impact, I'll teach you also maybe next week, right? There's another analysis called structural equation modeling, smart PLS. You can use smart PLS. That's also a type of regression analysis, but next generation regression analysis, right? So that's the final topic that I thought of teaching you, but probably I will take it ASAP, right? I'll take it ASAP because we have lesser amount of time because we were advanced by 2 weeks. So I'm going to compensate that, right? Okay, so likewise, now you know what kind of analysis, and in fact, that's what we are going to do. Okay, right. Now, one small question. Now, you might have asked, I know you might never have asked, but again, let me ask myself. Now, let's say you have one independent variable, opinion leadership. In the next one, functional value. Then epistemic value, emotional value, conditional value, then epistemic value, and finally social value, and then finally purchase intention. Now, if you go through purchase intention variable, you can see there are 4 questions. Likewise, for all variables, you have 3, 4 questions. Why? Now, for purchase intention, you could have asked one question. What's your purchase intention? Why do you need to ask 4 questions? If you read very carefully, those are the same. Right? It are the same thing. Do you need to do that?
Because these questions are about perceptions, and so you need to be clear when you ask questions. So even if one question is misunderstood.
Very good. Excellent. Exact answer I want. Exact answer I want. Excellent. Because these are all perception-based questions, right? So if one question was misunderstood, then you can avoid that and take the other three questions and take the average. Today we'll do that and create the variable. And today we'll do that, right? I'll show you how to do that. Exactly, you will understand how to create the variables. I'm going to take you in all, and you can apply the same kind of principles that I teach you today for your own individual assignment as well as your group assignment. That's what I have advanced this today, right? So you could do it properly, right? Now, if you look at gender, now there was a question on gender. Have I asked 5 different ways on gender? What's your gender? I don't know how to ask gender in 5 different ways, but have I asked, right, gender in 5 different ways? No. Why not? Why did I ask those questions in 4 or 5 different ways and gender only one way? Because gender is not a perception-based question, right? You cannot go wrong. No? The respondent cannot misunderstand. If I ask what's your gender, either you should be male or a female. Or maybe now these days we also put do not want to say or something like that. That's a different thing, right? If you don't want to say that, that's perfectly okay. Now, on the other hand, age, do I need to ask 10 different ways, what's your age? No, anyone could tell the age, right? Likewise, right, the demographic questions, you don't need to ask 10 different ways, right? Those are hard questions, hard facts. But now here, opinion leadership, one of the independent variables, we have asked in 6 different ways. Same thing, if you read very carefully, it's the same thing they ask. How opinion leaders influence the buying behaviors, right? We know there are opinion leaders. Like those days, there were cricketers who come forward and tell that this is good and this is bad. But now if cricketers come, right, no one will buy that product, isn't it? Then once I could remember people like Pumi, Hansamal, they came and they promoted certain items. Now they could, I think, promote something else, right? Let's not speak about that. Okay, functional value. Functional value, again, you can see it's asked in 7 different ways. Emotional value in 3 different ways. Likewise, you can see at least a perception-based question, right? A Likert scale-based question is asked in 3 different ways. At least. That's the best practice. At least. Either bit, right? So let's say at most 5. Now here, sometimes there are 7 questions. But again, at most 5, at least 3, right? For Likert-based questions. So that is also we understood why is that. And now let's go to the next question. Okay. Suggest, right? Okay, now we answered question number 1. Maybe question number 2 would have been this, to draw the conceptual diagram. Now you are able to draw the conceptual diagram. You put the independent variables and the dependent variable and do what? Connect them with an arrow. So the arrow should be pointing towards, I think you can see that, right? This arrow is pointing towards the purchase intention. Can you see that clearly? So at the exam, you might be asked to draw it. You can draw it like this. But you can use, you don't need this kind of, circles. You can have ovals, in fact, and you can have what? Boxes. Boxes are good enough, right? Okay. The next question. Now, this is based on your knowledge in research methodology, right? Research methodology. Did you have a subject called research methodology? Yes, indeed. Miss Isuri, one of my own students, taught you research methodology, right? Is that correct? Okay, right. Now tell me, what are the sampling strategies, quantitative, suitable sampling, quantitative study? Now, this is a quantitative study. What are the quantitative sampling methods that are available? Now, here, can you apply a quantitative sampling method, a probability sampling method? There's a precondition to perform a probability sample. What's that? you should have what? You should have the complete list of the population. You should have the complete list of the population. Then only you can perform a random sample, a probability sample. If you don't have the listing, in that case, you cannot perform a random sample, right? We call that listing what? The complete listing of the population is known as what? At least one student can tell it. This is coming from your research methodology course. What's that complete listing known as?
Population.
Population, yes, that's right. The population. The listing is known as what? Very good, Putha, thank you. But the listing is known as in a different name. What's that? Yes, it's the population, the list of the population. It's called, Putha, the sampling frame. So to do a random sample or what we call a probability sample, a quantitative sample, right? You need the sampling frame. What's the sampling frame? Although it says sampling frame, it's the complete list of the population, right? Now my question to you is, do you have the complete list of the population for this study? Who is the population? Trial users. Do you have the list of trial users? Yes. When you have loaned the app, to get that service, they need to register, right? So the trial users, the listing, maybe there are 500 trial users. Now in this case, there are 300 trial users. All 300 trial users, right? Listing is there. So in that case, can we perform a quantitative sample? Can we do a probability sample? Yes or no? Yes, you can. But sometimes, now let's say for an example, sometimes it might be the case that you are trying to see young adults' investment behavior in Sri Lanka. So do you have a sampling frame for all the young adults in Sri Lanka? No. In that case, you cannot apply what? A probability sample. You might need to go for a non-probability sample. Like what? Snowball sampling, convenience sampling, purposive sampling, even quota sampling. Likewise, there are different sampling techniques you could use. Right? That was taught to you under research methodology course. But here now you have the sampling frame, the list of the population, which is known as sampling frame. So in that case, you can use the random sample technique, probability sampling techniques. What are the random sample techniques that you know? Simple random sample, stratified random sample, systematic sample, as well as at least till the fourth one. Cluster sample. Very good. Cluster sample. Very good. I'm very happy. At least one student was able to tell. But if you cannot tell that, don't worry. You have 4 methods. Simple random, stratified random, then you have systematic as well as cluster sample. Now the question comes, what's the most suitable strategy? First of all, you decided that you can apply quantitative sampling technique because you have the sampling frame. Then now you have 4 methods under quantitative sampling methods, right? Simple random, stratified random, then systematic sampling as well as cluster sampling. Now the question comes, what's the most suitable one out of them? What's the most suitable one? If I were you, I won't apply simple random sample because probably some of the subpopulations might not be represented, right? So because we have different subpopulations, so actually it's not a homogeneous sample. You have gender-wise differences, marital status-wise differences. Likewise, you can see there's difference in demographics. So in that case, I would suggest you to use what? Stratified random sample. you can stratify and you can apply random sampling. Then it will be giving you a representative sample, right? So with that justification, since there could be different demographics indeed, we can see that there are different demographics here. So the suggestion is that you can use a stratified random sample to get a representative sample. So the answer here would be a stratified random sample. Strategy. Suitable to obtain a representative sample. So this would be my answer. But to come to this answer, I would have, these are not answers. In fact, I'm just giving some indications, right? So I think you heard what I told. First of all, you have to tell that you have a sampling frame. So you can go for a probability sample, right? Then you would also explain that there are, at least indicate that there are 4 methods of random sampling. And out of that, the best method is a stratified random sample. Okay. Right. We have to explain why. Then comes comment on the reliability of the items that were used to measure the dependent and independent variables. Right? Now to do this, you have to open the data set. And can you remind me to check the reliability? Right now, before you do any analysis, or even before you create, still the variables are not created. I have created that, but right. But before you create the variables or do anything, first of all, you need to check the reliability of those sub questions for the Likert scale questions. Now you have 7, right, altogether variables, 6 independent variables and 1 dependent variable, right? So you need to first check the reliability. Now, can someone remind me, how did we check the reliability?
Convex alpha.
Very good. Excellent. Excellent. Is through calculating the Convex alpha. So, can you remember how we did that? Okay. So here we can go. First of all, open the dataset. Right. Let me open the tutorial so you can remember. So I think I'll open the tutorial. So can you remember the tutorial which I showed you? Yeah. Factor analysis tutorial. So it's session 6, right? Open that, right? And then it shows at the end the reliability analysis. So that day I taught you how to check the reliability analysis. So what did you do? Yeah. Understanding reliability, check the internal consistency or reliability. What we do is we could just perform that, right? So just type alpha and give the subvariables of a question, right? So shall we do that? We go to here. So for that, now you need to download and open that file, the database. So here under week 10, you have the music premium database. Please download it and open it. And we'll download it and open it. Okay, so I have opened this file. So Stata open the file, right? So you can see, so when you open a file, or you can just download it and go to file and open it, no problem. So once you download the file, what you need to do? What do you need to do? View the file. So let's go to browse, 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 and I'm going to hit enter. And you can see how many observations are there. So I'm going to just click on one cell and I'm going to press Control down arrow key. So you can see, so let me expand. So how many observations are there? There are almost 300 observations. You can see 300 observations, and you have the variables. Go back again, go up, and you can see the variables are there on the top. ID number, gender, age, marital status. Based on that questionnaire, the collected data is there. Each row represents a trial use, right? So that information is there. Right. If I go and click here, and go and see. You see? Now here you can see OL1 to OL5. What are these? Opinion. Now you can remember there are 6 questions, isn't it? So opinion leadership had 6 sub questions. So these 6 sub questions are there. At 6 sub. Then functional value had about, I think, 7 sub questions. So those are also there. So likewise, you can see this information is provided. Right. So let me go back and let me go back to the Stata screen. Now this is the Stata data editor that I'm going to close that. And I have got here, you can see the same thing over here as well. Right. In your case, the property will go back. Okay, you can see the variables listed here. Can you see all? Right. So you can see here, again expand it. You can see opinion leadership, the 6 questions are there. Then functional value, there are 7 questions. So likewise, the sub questions are there. And finally, you can see purchase intention related questions, 4 questions are there. Can you see that? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Very good. Right. Now you have established that you have opened the correct file. Right? Good. Now, first thing what you have to do is check whether these questions are consistent, reliability of these sub questions under each variable. For that, we are going to use what command? The from base alpha command, as you very correctly told. So let me again expand and tell you how to give the command. Go to the command prompt, right, in your data. I am now going to this command prompt over here, right? And I'm going to type alpha, ALPHA, and do what? Go to the list of the variables. First, I'll check the opinion leadership, and I'll just click OL1. So it will come, OL1 will come here, right? Then again, I'm going to double click OL2, OL3, OL4, OL5, and OL6. And you can see all came over here. Right? Keep the cursor over here, and if you click on that list, the variables will land up here. Or you can just type if you want. Is it clear? Alpha OL1 to OL6. Clear the and hit
Yes.
enter. Hit enter. What can you see? What's the alpha value? You can see the alpha is 0.78. Is it good? Indeed, it's good. Anything above 0.7, we explained from base alpha above 0.7 is good. So there's no problem. For opinion leadership, 6 questions, no issue. So you have to write that opinion leadership. So ideally, you will go, right, let's make this clear. Right, you will go now to the case study question. Let me quit this one. This program that will read text, right? When I feel lazy to read, I ask TextAllow to read that for me, right? So it has come. So let's quit that. Okay. Right. So then I'll go to the case study. In the case study, so right. something else. Okay. This is a case study. I'll say opinion leadership. The Cronbach's alpha. Right. So let's put the value to save time. Okay. It's 0.78, right? Yeah, it's 0.78. So I'll record it as 0.78. 0.78. Okay. Opinion leadership. Right. So let's make it also in red color, and I don't bolded letters 0.78. The next one. What's the next one? What's the next variable? It's function value. You can see the next set of values, variables are the function value. FE1 to FE7. Now to see the Cronbach's alpha, what you are going to do? You would be just typing in a LPHA, PHA, right? LPHA, and then you are going to go to FE1, FE2, FE3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Make sure FE has come. Yes, you can see here now under command window, FE1 to FE7 is there, right? So I'm going to hit enter. It's again 0.86. Is it good? Indeed, it's very good. So again, right, I'm going to so here, and I'm not going to write it, but again, I'll write okay. I'll write functional value 0.86. Likewise, you have to list down, right? Functional value. And let's go back again to, I get lost with this one. Okay. Let's go to here. So that also we checked. In the next one, what's the next variable? Say alpha. Let's increase the size. Again, I put alpha. Then now I checked the functional value of P7, and I'll go to EV. Right? EV values are there. So EV1, EV2, and EV3. Right? Emotional values. So I'm going to hit enter. It has only 3. It's again 0.74. Is it good? Yes, it's also good. So again, what I'll do is I'm not going to write that to save time indeed. So I'll go over here and I'll document, right? The emotional value is again 0.76 or something. Likewise, for each and every variable, I'm going to put the Cronbach's alpha values, right? Then I'm going to see if all variables are above 0.7, right? I have already checked that. Indeed, all variables are above 0.7, right? Right? For each 7 variables, right? You need to do that. And let's do that. Alpha. So emotional value also ELPHA. Emotional value also you checked. Now let's go back to conditional value. So I again type alpha here and I come to this list and CV1, CV2, CV3, and CV4. Right? Alpha. Good, excellent. It's there. So let's hit enter. How about the alpha of conditional value items? It's 0.86. Again, you will record that in the Word file, right? Saying that conditional value 0.86. Is it good? 0.86, is it good? Yes, indeed, it is. Then next one, LPHA. LPHA. I'll go to, so this is epistemic value, EPV. So EP1, EP2, EP3, and EP4. EP4, okay, right here. So when you hit enter, you can see that also come to 0.85. What can you say about that? Is epistemic value variable having high reliability? Yes, indeed. Again, this is above 0.7. So that's also fine. Then next one. LPHA alpha. Just type alpha and then, so we checked epistemic value, right? Then we have the social value, the last independent variable, SV1, SV2, SV3, and SV4. Yes, here you go. Hit enter. Again, you see 0.81. Is it good? Is 0.81 good? Yes, it's above 0.7. So we could say social value also is having what? A high reliability. Then finally, we have the purchase intention related questions, PI1 to PI2, PI3, and PI4. There are 4 questions. So I'm going to go here and I will say A, L, P, H, A. And I'm going to say these things. This one, this one, this one, and this one. Hope I got it right. PI1 to PI4. Hit enter. That also has 0.8123 for PI1 to PI4 variables. So you record these things in the Word file and you can conclude what? All independent variables as well as the dependent, all 6 independent variables and the dependent variable has high reliability. Why? Because all of these are above point. What? Point? Above point? Above point what? 0.7 indeed. So that's what we did. And of course, I'll teach you a small technique now. You have the state output, all these are there. So you can copy all 7 variables. Copy this. You can copy as a table if you want. And what you can do is you put that to ChatGPT. And right, I'm going to go to ChatGPT. And you can ask to prepare a table. I'm going to go to my ChatGPT. So you can see how much I'm using ChatGPT. I'm an ardent user. I go to new chat. And I'll say prepare table. Paste on. On let's say prepare a summary table. Right. Okay. So yes, take a time and ChatGPT question. You have to copy it. Sometimes it will ask you to copy several times. I don't know why it happens, but it oftentimes happens. Okay. Right. So it gives a nice summary table. So when you publish your information, so it doesn't know what's oil, so it has there. You can say opinion leadership. So see, it says 6 items, 7 items, the Cronbach's alpha value. The alpha value is also given. Average covariances are also given, which is not required. Right. I like a Word file. I don't want to copy and paste Word file, please. Lazy. So likewise, you can be more efficient. But again, right, recheck. Sometimes ChatGPT does some very big blunders. So please recheck with the original output, right? I'm not going to do that, but I encourage you to do it. I don't depend on ChatGPT, right? So ChatGPT will give you some very, unusual answers. Okay, so let me download this and open it to get the Chrome website table. So I can put that in my output. Yeah, the table is given, summary table is given. So which saved a lot of time. So I like a compact table. So what I do is I will go here. Oops. Whatever. Control. Is it? Comment.com. I don't need comments. What I'll do is I'll go over here. and just table properties, and I'm going to remove all these things that are there. Cell widths and other things. Table, okay, that's good. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go here, and of course before that I'm going to say fit, auto fit to the contents. Right, and then I'm going to go here, line spacing. I'll say 0, 0, and I will say single. Much better, isn't it? I could expand it now a little bit. So right. So you can see in this table, the summary table is there. Right. So the comment is, you can see 0.78 from base alpha values are given. Put that expand. Okay, from base alpha values again. What I suppose it has tracked it. Maybe I have question everything. Okay. So that's a nice table, in fact. Right. Okay. Cosmetics, huh? But it sometimes means a lot. Right. Okay. So you can see the items are there, as a number of items are there, and you can have the from base alpha values. In all cases, you can see the from base alpha values are above 0.7. Right. Just cross check that, right? Probably I think it's correct, right? So instead of OL, you can write open leadership, functional value, partial value, conditional value, those kind of things you could write, no problem. So now what you did was you check the reliability, and you established that these right sub questions of each independent and dependent variable are what reliable. That's no problem. So to check the reliability, you performed from method. Keep that in mind, even for your individual assignment, which is going to be extended as the group assignment, right? Follow this kind of, steps. Start with the objectives, then even suggest a sampling strategy, then tell about reliability first. Then do what? Come to validity, particularly construct validity. So that's the next question. Comment on the construct validity. Now, how to check the construct validity? What's the test that we do? What's the test that we do?
Factor analysis.
Very good. Excellent. You perform a factor analysis. Isn't it? You perform factor analysis and you see whether each the sub-questions for each variable comes as one factor. Right? Now, for an example, if you go here, right? Let me take you to the questioning. Yeah, it's there in here. So in this questionnaire, now if you look at here, again, let me go to the opinion leadership questions, right? You can see that there are six sub-questions. If I do a factor analysis, how many questions should come? How many factors should come out? There are 6 questions. How many questions should come out?
6.
How many factors? There are 6 questions. How many factors should come out? Huh?
6
How many factors? 6 factors. All these 6 questions are asking one thing. What's that? Opinion leadership, isn't it? So how many factors should come out? 1 factor. Because all these questions are asking the same thing. Questions are active or factors are active. Did you get a point? Let's take that. Another question. Let's come to the last one, purchase intention. Purchase intention, you can see there are 4 questions. if you run a factor analysis, how many factors should come out of these 4? Then මේ හතර දාලා අපි දුවන factor analysis. Right? There are 4 elements. How many factors should come out?
One, sir.
1 factor. Because these are all asking the same thing. If it comes as 1 factor, we indicate what? There's construct validity. And purchase intention questions ටික දාලා අපි factor analysis හදුවොත් එක factor එකක් එන්න ඕන. factors දෙක තුනක් එනවා නම් construct validity නැහැ. Right? Again, right. Now you have 4 sub questions for purchase intention. You can see there are 4 sub questions, 1, 2, 3, 4. And if you run a factor analysis, Puta, only 1 factor should come out. In that case, we would claim that there's construct validity, right, for this set of questions. But on the other hand, if there are 2 or 3 factors coming, in that case, we cannot conclude that there is construct validity. Right? Okay. Now to check that whether there is construct validity for each, there are 7 Likert scale questions, 6 independent and 1 dependent. So for each variable, Likert scale variable, you have to perform factor analysis and see whether it comes up as a 1 factor. Shall we do that and see? How to run a factor analysis? Of course, we have 4 steps, but running the first step is more than enough to see whether something is wrong or not. If it comes as the eigenvalue comes above 1, then there's something wrong and it indicates for 2 factors or something, right? So how to run the factor analysis? Very simple. What you do is, right, you just type factor and put the sub questions of the variable. Huh? Don't put 2 or 3 variables of the variable. So I'll teach you how to do that. Now you go again to stata, right? I'm going to stata here. And in the command window, I'm going to type factor. I'm going to go and type factor. And then I'm going to go to this list and I'm going to take oil 1 and double clicking that, oil 2, oil 3, oil 4, oil 5, and oil 6. I hope all clear. Oil 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right, now I am going to run a factor analysis. How many factors ideally should come out to say that there's construct validity? 1 factor should come out. Shall we check that? Hit enter. Here we see. What can you say? Let me reduce the output so you can see much clearer. Right? What can you say by looking at the first table? Is it good or bad? How many factors are there? How many factors are there? Look at the first
1.
table. It's 1, isn't it? Why? Because only 1 factor has an eigenvalue of above 1. Are you happy? Extremely. Extremely. Suppose there were 2 factors that had eigenvalue more than 1, then you should be extremely sad because this variable has a problem. So since the eigenvalue is only 1 factor has an eigenvalue above 1, so you could conclude there's 1 factor. Right? That's enough. So there's no problem. You can go ahead with that this particular variable, opinion leadership, has construct value. Okay. Suppose it comes to 2, then you have to go and follow the other 3 steps. Even you can draw a scree plot diagram. Colombo, scree plot diagram. Scree plot. Right. You just draw a scree plot diagram. Let's see what it gives. What can you see? After 1 bend, it gets slanted. So seems there is 1 factor. Right. 1 factor. After 1 main bend, it gets slanted. So yes, this indicates that opinion leadership variable has construct validity. So you'll go here and you'll write that. Here, right? Case Sorry, students, my connection got disrupted. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Thank you, Putta. Thank you very much. Suddenly I got dropped. I don't know why. So maybe I was too fast. Even the computer, I think, had an issue in copying up. Maybe I don't know. Right. Okay. So let me share the screen again. So I'm going to share. I think I shared the correct screen. Okay. So then, right, I think you heard me that when we did a factor analysis for the opinion leadership, it loaded as one factor. So you say opinion leadership has construct values, right? Likewise, you have to do for other variables as well, right? For the next, what's the next variable? You can go and see in the list. The next variable is what? Opinion leadership, we check that. And then we can see there is FE, functional value. So you can go and go factor and just type factor, right? Let me find it so you can see much better. You can just type factor, right? And then you can see we checked opinion leadership. Now functional value. Functional 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So all functional values are there. Hit enter. Here you got the factor. This is the first table. Right. Are you happy? Is there a construct value? Is there a construct value?
Yes, sir.
Yes, indeed. Why is that? Because you can see, right? You can see the first output. I made it this for, so this is the first output. There's only one factor that has an eigenvalue of above 1. So what's that factor? What's the name of that factor? Functional value. So there's no any problem, right? There's no any problem, right? You can also conclude in this case also there is construct value. There is construct value for this variable as well, which is the function value, which is the second independent variable, right? Then you go and write that Word document. So you can, I'm not going to do that, but you can write that as well. Here you can say, over here, and you can say functional value also has construct value because one factor comes up, right? Okay, so let's go to the next one. What's the next variable? Let's go and see. So you can see functional value is there. Now you can see this EV1 to EV3. So that's emotional value. So again, let's go here and say factor. Factor. And you can go and put EV1, EV2, EV3. Right? So let's go and hit enter and see how many factors come out. So here also for EV1 to EV4, how many factors have come out? Only one factor. You can see the eigenvalue is above 1 only for one factor. You should be extremely happy, which indicates there's only one factor. Suppose they have eigenvalue above 1, 2, then you have a problem. Here there's no problem. So that also says that EV1 to EV3 has construct validity, right? In factor again. Factor again, we'll go to CV1. This is condition value CV2, CV3, and CV4. Right. Okay, so you go here, you hit enter. Right here also you can see, how about CV1 to 4? Is it having construct validity? Yes. That also only one factor has an eigenvalue, right? Which is above 1. Perfect. You should be very happy to see this. Then factor. Then let's see EPV. EP1, EP2, EP3, and EP4. Right? You have this EP1 to 4. Let's hit enter and see what EPV. EPV also has, see, you can see this EP1 to EP4. It also has 2.32. It's only one factor which has above 1. That's epistemic value. Good. Then factor. Then let's go to SV. SV1, the last independent variable, SV2, SV3, and SV4. So these were the social value questions. So here also you can see again the eigenvalue for social value factors is above 2.13. Perfect, perfect. No worries. That also has above 1. So lastly, the dependent variable purchasing intention. We have 4 questions. We'll do that as well. Factor. And you'll go to PI1, PI2, PI3, and PI4. Okay. Let's go and see whether this has construct validity. Yes, indeed. For this also, you see there is what? An eigenvalue that's above 1. Are you happy? Yes, indeed. You should be very happy to see these results because all these variables are having a construct validity. The construct validity. Guess why? All provided 1 factor. So again, if you want to prepare one table, I'll go top for the first one. So functional value. We started with opinion leadership, EV, IS here, it's there. So this alpha, not alpha. I need here, these the thing, fact analysis. So I'm going to copy all down, copy, right? And I'm going to go to ChatGPT. Be very careful when you are going to use ChatGPT for these purposes, right? Summarize. Again, cross check, right? Again, please cross check this. Okay, that's good. All right. So it will give one huge table, right? Probably. So then you can put that there. But for your individual assignment and group assignment, I need the screenshots of data, right? I need the screenshots of state. Therefore, you might summarize it, but also give the screenshots. Okay, it gives me the Word file directly. So let's see whether I get the Word file. So that's how you can save thousands of hours by using ChatGPT. But again, be very careful. Sometimes ChatGPT gives completely messed up answers. So check with the original one. Okay, the factor loadings are given. The factor loading ranges. You can see in all factor loadings, it's above 0.59. Right. Uniqueness range is also given. So that's what we're looking at. And one factor has come out. My God, see, is completely wrong. Number of factors written 1. Right. So therefore, see, right. And the factor loadings, that's correct. All factor loadings. Now, if you go and check, that's another thing that we can see by looking at. Let's go back. You see the final one. Let me show you. So in the second table, you can see factor loadings are here. And if you want to go to the rotated metrics, you can go to these unrotated metrics. You can go to the rotated one and you can see that. But here, by looking at the eigenvalues, now this one, ChatGPT has misunderstood. So therefore, actually, in all cases, there was one factor that had come out. So that's wrong. See? Therefore, be extremely careful when you are using ChatGPT. This should be 1. So anyway, so I'm going to close this. Okay, that was not the matter. Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah, actually, what's this? Is the earlier table. Let me close that. Another table wahala danne. Okay, I could not paste it, isn't it? So let me open that. Fact analysis summary. So I tried to edit it over there. Right now, let's copy this. And let's put it over here. And here, actually, this should have been 1. 1. Eigenvalue was 1. Or what we can do is, okay, here we can try it. So you retain 1. And of course, the factor loadings are given all above 0.5. Well, that's also good. So that shows construct validity is there. So you can conclude. Yes, Buddha?
But there in this analysis, there is a line called retain factors, and that shows 2, 4 likewise. In the
Number of
analysis.
factors retained, yes, Buddha. But again, for us, what matters is what? The number of keywords. Eigenvalues. Eigenvalues. Based on number of factor retained, you can take based on eigenvalue.
Okay.
Abhimada. Eigenvalues. So very clear. So it should be 1. It cannot be more than this. One eigenvalue. We'll little bit tweak it. Right? Put that tweak. Right. Okay, Buddha. So here also you can say that there's construct value because you saw based on eigenvalues, you retain 1. Right? You retain 1. So you should be very happy. And the factor loadings are given here. So this is fine. Right. Now, after this, you can create 2 independent dependent variables. Right? Now here, fortunately, everything were fine. You first check the reliability and validity. Right? You first check the reliability and validity. And if you check reliability and validity is okay for each variable sub-questions, then you create the independent dependent variables. In case if your reliability is not good with one variable or one sub-questions, let's say you might need to remove that question. Or let's say for an example, you check the reliability, right? You check the reliability from bets alpha. And when you check the reliability of, let's say, let's go there. Let's go to this question. Let's say, right, this one. Now you check the reliability over here of purchase intention. You say alpha and purchase it. So it came a very low amount. Then Puta, you have to perform an analysis only if you encounter this. I have given the anecdote. You have to perform an analysis called if item deleted analysis and see what's wrong. Right, what's wrong. That's a little bit of an advanced analysis, which I, if you encounter, we'll go through that. In fact, I have given that in my tutorial. Right here. So let's, okay. So in my tutorial, in case when you are doing you can go to my tutorial, and here I have given you a small note. Here, if item deleted analysis. If a certain item is deleted, whether the Cronbach's alpha will go up or not. That's what is given here, right? And in case if you, in your own analysis, if you come across, you can follow this, right? But it's very rare. But indeed, you will get some items that are not working, not proper. Then we can perform this analysis. If item data analysis, you can just say, okay, the sub-questions and put detail. Then in the detail, it will give the correlation metrics. And you can see if all have a high correlation between the items. If one item is having a low correlation with other items, that means it has a problem. And you might need to know, let's say JS5 had a low correlation here, maybe with other variables, right? JS5. JS5 is having, let's say, with all other variables, other 4 variables having a low correlation or even a negative correlation, then you might need to remove JS5 and then take only JS1 to JS4 in creating the final variable. Right? Okay, never mind about that. That's exception situations. Right? After the break, now we'll see how to create the variables. Still the variables are not created. We just checked the reliability and validity of what? The sub questions. Did we create the opinion leadership variable? No. Still there are 6 sub questions. We did not create one. Before creating, I told you, we need to check what? Reliability and validity. Right? And after the break, we'll see how to create the variables. Right? Easily now you can create the variables. I'll tell you how to create the variables. And then afterwards, you can do all kinds of analysis. Right? Descriptive analysis, then correlation analysis, t-testing, and the regression analysis. Right? So we'll see how to do them after the break. Okay, shall we take a small break now? It's almost 9:05. Shall we meet at 9:20? Okay, 9:20, and we'll go up to 10:30. If time is not sufficient, don't worry. We'll continue on this Sunday, right? But be very, very mindful of what we are doing, right? And see the steps that we follow. It's going to be extremely important. Okay, students, we'll have now a small break and we'll meet at 9:20. Okay, PM. Okay. Students, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Putha, thank you very much. So let's proceed now. Now let's see, Putha, how we can create the variables. Now, if we look at carefully, expand, right now, right, you can see here, there are 6 sub-questions for opinion leadership, isn't it? If I go and see, if I go to browse, you can see here. Here, these are the 6 questions. Actually, although it has a value label over here, actually that value is 5. So opinion leadership for 5, OL2 is 5, 3 is also 5, 4 is also 5, 5 is also 5, and 6 is also 5. So you can see there are 6 sub-questions. Now we need to create, right, one variable out of these 6 sub-questions. How can you create one? Right? What you can do is you can take the average, the mean value of these 6 questions and create a variable called opinion leadership. Right? So what should be the value if you create one? If you take these 6 variables, 5 into 6, 30 divided by 6, it's 5. Right? The average value is 5. So likewise for each, right, we have to take the row mean of this row. Mean of this row again to create the variable for each individual. For each individual, right, here you have trial users. For each trial user, you have to take the average rows and create the variable called opinion leadership. Right. So that's what we are going to do now, because we check the reliability first and the validity now also, and we ensure that validity and reliability are there. Now what we can do is we can close this one, and we'll now see how to create the variable. So I'll teach you how to take the row mean, right, for each observation and calculate the variable. Okay, for that, go to state of the main window and go to data, create or change data, and go to create new variable extended. Please write it down. So you can take a small note if you want. Creating variables. Creating variables. Because till you don't have the variables, you have the questions. For each variable, you have the questions. Now I'm going to teach you how to create the variables. Right? So you'll go to data, create or change data, and you'll create new variable extend. Right? And here, okay, switch these things. Okay. Right, it will look like this. Something like this. Huh? So then generate variable, you have to give the new name of the variable that you're going to create. I'll say opinion, copy, leadership, underscore, I cannot leave spaces. I'll say lead. Something like that. Copy, opinion, leadership. Right. Just give some name, but make sure that you have an underscore here, because you cannot leave spaces in creating a variable. Labels, you can give anything like that. Then what you're going to do is from this list over here, select row mean, because you need the mean of the row. Not the mean, you're going to take the row mean. Here, row mean. Please select this. First type opinion leadership or any other term and say row mean, because we are going to take the what mean of that row. Then what are the variables? For opinion leadership, you are going to select what OL1, OL2, OL3, OL4, OL5, and OL6. So what we are trying to do is we are trying to tell Stata to take the row mean of these variables. But that's all. And you are going to press OK. Right? Shall I press OK? Is anyone doing this with me? Opinion leadership. Take the row mean. Press OK. Then now here the command is given. Actually, it's the simple command, right? What it says isegen command. We call it extended generation of variables. Then this the float type is float. Anything can be, even if you cannot omit this, it's okay. Then you give the new variable's name and you say take the row mean of opinion leadership variables. And now if you go and see here in the list, you get a new variable called opinion leadership. Right? And let's go and see, let's see the value of that variable. Let's go to browse. And right, okay. And let's go to the, okay, you can see here, there's a new variable that has created. For each row, it has created the row mean, and it's 5. Earlier we saw 30 divided by 6, it's 5. So the row mean has been calculated for each, right? Each trial user, each observation is as created. So this is what we created for opinion leadership. Likewise, for other 5 independent variables remain independent variables, so there are altogether 6 independent variables and the dependent variable, you need to create that. Right? To make things easy, right, what I'll do is I'm going to minimize that or close it. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to now, I don't like to go and click and kick. So after I do that, I will go here, I'll copy this particular already passed command, I'll copy that and I'll put that in the command window. And now for the next variable, which is what? I'm going to change, right? Opinion leadership. Now it's functional value, FV12, FV7. So rather than giving again, going and clicking, I'll sayegen float, here functional value. I just give a name. I just take the name, functional, FU, functional value. Just give some name. And now it's not oil. I'll say FV1, functional value 1, functional value 2, functional value 3, FV4, 6, 5, 6, and you will say FV7. So what I had done is I took the same command and then I just wrote it here. I just edited it. So what I'm saying is, okay, create a variable called functional value by taking the row mean of these 7 sub-questions. So there are 7 sub-questions. FE1, FE2, FE3, FE4. Right? And I'm going to hit enter. Okay. It ran, there was no error. If there's an error, there should be a red color thing. So if I go and see now at the bottom, there's functional value, a new variable that has come. Then I'm going to do the same thing for the next variable. I'm going to take this again. Copy, paste, right? And because I'm taking a shortcut, right? Then I'll see functional value was created. Now we have emotional value, EV1 to EV3. So I don't need FV, I need EV1 to EV3. Now this emotional value. So I'll say emotional value, EMO, emotional value. Row mean, now it's EV1, EV2, and EV3. No issue. Emotional value, raw mean, and I'm going to hit enter. So that variable is also created. So if you go and see the list over here, now there's emotional value as well. Emo value. Then what's the next variable? Now we created functional value, emotional value. EV is also created. Now we have conditional value. Conditional value have 4 variables, CV. So I'm going to copy this and I'm going to edit that. Paste. Then let's say conditional value, C4MD, conditional value, and I'll say CV1, CV2, CV3, and let's put CV4. Sorry, CV4. If you say CV4, it will give an error message, right? So there are conditional value 4 sub variables. I'm going to take the raw mean of that and calculate conditional value variable. I'm going to hit enter. Okay, it also ran without an issue. Now there's a new variable, conditional value. So we have created, right, 4 variables, 3 more to go. And again, I'm going to copy this. And I'm going to the command window. I'm going to put that. I'm going to create the next value. What's that? You have emotional value created. The conditional value created, right? That's what you got, conditional value. Then we have the epistemic value, EPV. So I'll say epistemic, a P value. P, epistemic value. Epistemic value. And how many subquestions are there? There are 4 subquestions. So I'm going to say, right, EP, EV, epistemic value. What's the EPV? So EPV. So instead of CV, I'll say EPV. EPV. I copy and I replace this EPV2, EPV3, and EPV4. Okay. So what I'm going to do, what I'm telling Stata is to create a variable called epistemic value by taking the raw mean of EP1 to EP4. Hit enter. So you created that variable as well. You can see at the bottom now you have EP value as well. Then after that, after epic value, you have the social value. Social value also there is 4 questions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this. Right. Command line, you can be very quick. Right. Sometimes don't be too quick. Okay. Right. Then we have social value. I'll say social SOC social value. So I'll say SV1, SV2, SV3, and SV4. Social value, we have 4 questions. SV1 to. So you can hit enter. That also creates a new variable called, let's say, social value. Okay, social value is also there. And finally, one more to go. What's that? Purchase intent, PI1 to PI4. So that also I will copy this and paste it. Go over here. Now let's say purchase, not intentions, those are not intent. Purchase, PR, let's say INT. Purchase intention, raw means. So PI, it's I, right? PI1. So let's copy this. Let's say PI2, purchase intention 2, purchase intention 3, and purchase intention 4. And I'm going to hit enter. Okay, it also created purchase intention. Now, if you go and see the data set, you will have 7 additional variables. Browse. Right, if you hit enter. Now you can see here, these variables have come. Opinion leadership, functional value, it has taken the raw means and created these variables. Right? Raw means and created these variables. Is that clear? Students?
Yes, sir.
Good, very good. Excellent. Right. So what we'll do is next is, right, I'm going to close. In fact, I'll minimize this. I'm going to close this data editor window and I'm going to go to Stata. And now let's go back to the questions. Right. Let's go to our questions. So there's some other case study. I have several case studies, right? So, okay. Yeah. Now we have done create independent variables. I'll say done. Right. And I'll say done. So those are done because only after that we can proceed. Then it says describe the independent, dependent, and the demographic variables. How can you do that? Yes, to do that, you have to understand, right? I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do a few demographic variables because to save time. But for the independent, dependent variables, right? What analysis you are going to do? Now for demographic variables, what analysis do you do? Like gender, right? For gender variable, what kind of demographic analysis you would do? Age is a different thing. Marital status. What's the analysis you do? You'd be doing a frequency analysis because why? Those are what? Categorical variables. For categorical variables, I very clearly categorically I told you to perform what? A frequency analysis. So for variables like gender, you can perform what? You can perform a frequency analysis. So shall we do a frequency analysis for gender? I'm going to do it for two variables, let's say gender and marital status, but you need to do all, right? So it says to describe demographic variables. It doesn't say only gender and marital status, but just to demonstrate. So how to do a frequency analysis? I forgot now. You go where? To statistics, summaries, tables, and tests, and then where? You will go to what? Frequency tables, right? And you will go to one-way table, right? Is that clear? And there are others as well, right? Other sophisticated things are there. You go to these are tables of frequencies, summaries, and command results. That it's you can even draw very sophisticated tables, right? But again, let's use the normal one, frequency tables, right? And you can go to one-way table. And then give the categorical variable. What's that? Gender. Subpopulations, you don't need. Treat missing values like other values. I want the missing values also. First of all, and to see whether there are extraordinary high missing values. But if not, then you can just take this tick off, right? Do not display frequencies. No, I need the frequencies. I will press OK. There are no missing values, so you get a frequency table. So this is the frequency table that you are going to get. So to copy the frequency table, of course you can use ChatGPT, but again, here you have to start from here. Start from the bottom and go to up. Then right click and copy table. If you want to copy it as, or put that to ChatGPT, right? But make sure that it gives the correct result. Huh? Right, then let's go to this one. Tables. I will close this is not required. Here. And you are going to put that. So you get this table as a table. Right. Or you can put that to ChatGPT. Better to put that to ChatGPT, right? Okay. Then let's do that to the marital status as well. So I put that to ChatGPT, it's very easy. Then let's go to, now for you, you have to take screenshots. How to get the screenshot? You can copy, right? I'll show you how to, you can get screenshot. You don't need to get screenshots. What you can do, you can right click and copy as picture. Then you'll get exactly as this. Better to take with the command. Take with the command, right click, copy as picture, and go over here and paste it. Then it comes as a picture. Right. So that's what I require from you. Copy it as a picture, screenshot. Then let's do the same thing for matter status. Go to status, right? So I'm lazy. So I'm just going to copy this command, paste it over here. And instead of gender, right? Instead of gender, I'm going to take it off. And I'm going to have from the list. Then I click comment, right? Okay, I'm going to go to gender, matter status. So I'm going to put matter status here. I just double click and hit enter. So you get the table for matter status. Right. So I'm going to copy. So start from the bottom. Right click, then copy as picture and put that into the Word file. Something else. Lot of files open now. Okay. Right. So you have the gender-wise distribution as well. So this is for the demographic variables. Likewise, there are several demographics, so why not you do everything? Then for the continuous variables like age, the independent and dependent variables, we have to do what? We have to do what? Calculate the descriptive statistics. They are measures of center tendency, dispersion, and distribution you have to compute, right? So that's for that. There's no option. Okay. Clear? Right. So let's see how to do that. So you go to this analysis. So let me expand it. So you go to statistics, summaries tables. Now what? Other tables and compact table of summary statistics. Right. We did these things earlier. So I'm going quite quick. And so once you go there, you will get this one. So what's the variable that you're going to do? You are going to take age. Age is a continuous variable. And now we shall take the variables that we created. Opinion leadership. Okay, let's select now. Opinion leadership. Then you have what? Functional value, emotional condition value, epistemic value, social value, and purchase intention. So choose them, and then let's first get the mean. Mean is okay. Then I also would like to see the median. That's the median. Median everything. Also, I like to see the minimum value and the maximum value. Maximum value. And also like to see the standard deviation. Standard deviation. And what else? Yes, I would like to see the kurtosis. Kurtosis. And also the scales. These are just, whatever the statistics. Now, these are for continuous variables, age and the independent and dependent variables, right? And I'm going to press OK. Okay, you got a nice table. You got an excellent table which lists what are the variables and what are the descriptive statistics, right? My daughter also has come to learn descriptive statistics. Right now she's leaving. Okay. Again, this one also you can just copy and put it as a table. Copy these things, right click, copy as picture, and you can put that also here. These are all the descriptive statistics. And what you need to do is now describe this, right? You can describe this. I'm not going to describe that. Of course, at the exam, you will be required to describe it. You'll be given this output, so you need to describe. Right? You can tell what's the mean value. So you can say when it comes to age, it's 37. And the median is also 36. You can say measures of central tendency are quite similar in this case. The minimum value, minimum age 18 years, and maximum value 82 years. Standard deviation is 13 years, plus or minus from the mean value. And kurtosis, oh my God, kurtosis is around 3. If something is above 3, that's a problem. And skewness is less than 3, plus or minus, it's 0.6, so it's not a big issue. So then you can see opinion leadership. So when we see purchase intention is 3.5. Is that good? In a 1 to 5 Likert scale, the mean value is 3.5. The median is also 3.5. So is it good? Now that's a key thing, right? In your first objective, what was your first objective? Can you remember? What was your first objective? To assess the level of purchase intention. Now, what's your purchase intention? You have got the answer. Here, the purchase intention is 3.5 in a 1 to 5 Likert scale. 1 is highly disagree, 2 is disagree, 3 is neutral, 4 is agree, and 5 is highly agree. So you get 3.5. Is it good? No, it's not so good. It's between neutral and agree. People are in between, on average, neutral and agree. Right? So that's not so good. So there's no high intention to purchase this. That's how you'd interpret. Right? And when it comes to the independent variables, you can see the 6 independent variables are there. The highest is with what? Opinion leadership. The lowest is with what? The mean value. Lowest is this one, epistemic value. So you can see, you can comment on those. That is what is required under this question. Comment on the highlights. And particularly, you can now, you have achieved your first objective. Your first objective is to see the level of purchase intention. You told correctly at the beginning, one student told that the purchase intention could be looked at as what? To see the level, you have to do descriptive statistics, particularly the mean value here is 3.5. Not so high, isn't it? The 1 to 5 Likert scale, it's in between 3 to 5, 3 to 4. 3 is neutral and 4 is agree. It's in between, even not 4. Suppose if this purchase intention was let's say 4.5, then it would have been good. Closer to 5 would have been good, better. But it's 3.49. Right? So not so nice. The purchase intention. So that's what you can say to the developers of this app, who are the students who developed this music premium app and who have launched the trial version. So likewise, insights you have to indicate. Now here, by looking at the gender table, what can you say? The majority of whom? Majority of females, isn't it? 71% females. 71% females. Right. Comment on the relationship between the independent and dependent variables. Now what you need to? Now probably what I'll do is, now I can see how many students are there. I can see only 39 students out of, I don't know, several students, right? So this Sunday, I'll give a similar case study. Not the same, a similar case study to be worked out and presented. Right? Because If not, I fail my duty as a lecturer. Why? Because my students might not learn this. So you have today's Wednesday, so at least watch this video for the next 3 days. And on when Sunday, when we meet, we'll do a case study at the class and ask you to present it, right? I'll give you time on a group basis. But each group member will need to know what you're talking about, right? Okay, so that's the way I could push you. That's the internal control. I cannot put internal controls to actively take part. If I do that, I'll be a little bit unfair. People might be going home. People might be, doing different kind of things. I do understand. So what I could do is I could give you a class activity that covers what I taught you. So be ready for a class activity of this nature, right? Okay, right. Now let's see how to check the relationship. Now you told me to check the relationship. What's the analysis that you perform? What's the analysis you perform?
Correlation analysis.
Correlation analysis. Very good. Right. So how to perform correlation analysis? Forgot. How do you perform correlation analysis? You go to graphics, right? And you go to bar chart. Is that you do a correlation analysis? No. You go to statistics. Then where? Summaries, tables, and tests. Then you go summaries, descriptive statistics, and do what? You go to what? Maybe. Very doesn't. So there was something else, so it covered it. Okay, let's go again. Statistics, summaries, tables, and then you'll go to what? Pairwise correlation. Go to pairwise correlation. We did all things, like these things we did, and then you are going to select the variables, right? Put the dependent variable at the end, right? That's easy. There's no rule like that, but better to do that. So first take the independent variables. Opinion leadership, functional value, emotional value, conditional value, and the epistemic value and the social value. Then finally put the purchase intention. Put the dependent variable at the end or at the beginning. Don't put in the middle, it's hard to interpret. Then print the number of observations for each entry and print the significance level. Don't forget to tick this. Don't forget to put these 2 ticks and press OK. You get a nice table. Yeah, you can see. Now to interpret this result, you go to the last row because you put the independent variable. So you can see the here opinion leadership and purchasing intention. What kind of relationship is there? Right. Then next one is what? Functional value and the purchase intention. So what can you tell? These are the 6 independent variables and purchase intention. What kind of relationship is there? You can see the sig values for all are less than 0.05. The sig values with all independent variables, purchase intention has a sig value of what? Less than 0.05. In that case, how you can interpret that? How you can interpret? You can say
They are
that
all
there's a static.
statistically significant real relationship.
Very good, excellent. They all have a statistical significant relationship. Therefore, now you can interpret whether there's positive or negative relationships, right? Then you will see now the correlation coefficients. All are having what? Positive correlation. So therefore, you could say all independent variables, right, have a correlation of what? A positive correlation with purchase intention. What has the highest one? What variable has the highest one? It's this epistemic value. Epistemic value has the highest, it's 0.55. So you can interpret like what? The epistemic value has a moderate and a significant relationship between purchase intention. And the next one is this 5139. Then that also social value, isn't it? Social value also has, yeah. Social value also has a significant relationship after that, which is also moderate. This one also has a moderate one. What's that? That seems, yeah, social value this time. The conditional value. Conditional value is also having a moderate, but these are having quite low 0.2 to point, yeah, weak relationships. 0.2 to 0.4 in between, that's the range for these. So these three variables, opinion, leadership, functional value, and emotional value, have a weak relationship, but again positive or significant. The lowest relationship is with what? The lowest one is with this one, emotional value. Right? Emotional value has the lowest, right, positive correlation with purchase intent. So likewise, you can provide your highlights. You are not going to discuss anything else, other variables and variables, unless you are going to discuss about what? Multicollinearity, which is, let's say, not discuss about that now, right? Multicollinearity. So basically, you under correlation analysis, you discussed, right, the independent variables and the dependent variable on what? A bivariate basis, right? You took and you discussed. So even if you present this row, that's enough, right? So what I'll do is I'll put this to ChatGPT. It will give me a nice table. Right, I'll put this to ChatGPT, copy. So let's copy in the proper way. To start from the bottom. I'll take it with a command. Even I can copy it as a picture, right? But let's copy it as a table, right? And then I'm going to go to ChatGPT. Without ChatGPT, I don't know how could I survive even. Okay. Doing a lot of things with ChatGPT. Okay. I'll go to ChatGPT and I'll say prepare. You have to put the screenshot, right? You put a quick picture. Prepare a nice table. Right. So that's technology, isn't it? These we all discussed in the class, right? Everything. Till last week, that's what. So today what I'm doing is, I'm helping you to consolidate it all. Then for your individual assignment as well as for your group assignment, now you know the flow. So you can start with defining the objectives and then you can take it forward. Right, now you have an idea. If not, I can foresee. I can focus, no, like regression analysis, you can be used to forecast. I can focus that my students bathing, snane karna, right? Nana, right? Measuring up all, so that's why I'm giving you a heads up. I don't want my good students to mess up. I want you to do it properly and get high marks. Isn't it a beautiful table? Indeed, right? It's a beautiful table, right? You can see the p-values are given within brackets. And of course, you are going to interpret only this, right? See how beautiful things are, right? Life is beautiful with ChatGPT, isn't it? But use it as a tool. Tool එකක් විදිහට use කරන්න නැත්නම් okay. Let's put it like this. Right. Okay. So you'll put this and you will interpret this one. But again, be very careful when you use ChatGPT. Why? Because it might give completely wrong answers. Huh? So it says comment on the relationship between independent and dependent variables, not independent variables. So purchase intention and the other independent variable, which we did. It in that way. Right? Is that clear? So now let's see how to perform test of differences. So I'm going to say this. Test of differences, how to perform test of differences, very simple. Okay, now what we need to see is to see whether the purchase intention differs based on gender. What's the test Putha we are going to perform? Based on gender. What's the test we performed? Earlier student told me. I think it was Magisha. Right. Let's do it. So based on gender to see whether purchase intention differs. For that, we have to go again and we have to perform what? An independent sample t-test. Go to statistics, summary, tables and test. In classical tests, this is hiding it. So let me go again. Statistics, summaries, tables and test. Summaries, classical test of hypothesis, and you will go to t-test mean comparison. And then you will see that it's not one sample t-test, it's two sample using groups, males and females, two samples. And your variable that you need to test is purchase intention, the created variable. So purchase intention, that's the last variable, purchase intention. Grouping variable is gender. Right? Grouping variable is gender. That's it. Two sample and you got result. You get a nice result. You can see males purchase intention is 3.44. Females purchase intention is 3.509. Females have a little bit slightly 0.1, right? Higher purchase intention. Is it significant? We don't know. That's why we did a one sample paired sample t-test. And you can see the paired sample t-test result is given. The sig value is well above 0.05. In that case, can you reject a null hypothesis that there is no difference? Always follow those 4 steps. What are the 4 steps? Establish a null hypothesis. Null hypothesis says that there's no difference between males and females in terms of the purchase intention of this premium version of the music app. Write down those things. Null hypothesis. Then decision criteria. What's the decision criteria? Decision criteria, if the sig value or the p value is less than 0.05, reject it. Reject the null hypothesis. Then using stata, perform the independent sample t-test and compute the sig value. The sig value is 0.5129. Then conclusion. What's the conclusion? Since the calculated sig value 0.5129 is well above 0.05, we cannot reject the null hypothesis, which means that there is no significant difference between males and females in terms of their purchase intention of the music premium app. So write those 4 steps and write the answer. Clear? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Of course. Good. Right. So that you have to now, when you write the answer, Huta, you have to give all these things. Right? So you have to, under gender, you have to explain. Okay, you have to say, first of all, you have to say that you are going to perform an independent sample t-test. Right? And then you have to give step number 1, null hypothesis. Step number 2, decision criteria. Step number 3, using stata, calculate the sig value. Then step number 4, which is conclusion. Since the sig value is less than, not less than, is more than 0.05, well above 0.05, you cannot reject the null hypothesis. You cannot reject that there is no difference, meaning there is no difference, a significant difference. Right? So likewise, you will conclude. Is that clear? Right. Now it says marital status. Marital status. What's marital status? Whether you are married or not. Right? Now here, if you see how many marital status are there. If you go to the appendix, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 marital status are there. So you want to compare based on the marital status, the purchase intention differs. Now, for an example, you might have thought single people might prefer to buy this music app than people married with children. Because people with married with children will always listen to music, right? From the wife as well as from the children, isn't it? Or from the husband and the children, right? Okay, right. So I don't know. Therefore, maybe they don't prefer that. Let's see. We don't know whether they prefer or not. So for that, what we need to do, what's the analysis that we perform to see whether there are differences, right? When there are more than two groups, 3 plus, what's the analysis you perform? You perform one way, right? So let's now perform to see on an overall basis as well as on a group basis, right? Overall basis and a group basis. Okay, so overall basis, let's exit. Then let's go to data. Okay, we'll go to statistics. Now, one way now, you go to summaries and tables and tests. No, you go to linear models and related, and you go to ANOVA, MANOVA, and you go to one way, right? Then you go here. Then response variable is life satisfaction. No, purchase intention. Then factor variable is what? Marital status. And then you're also asking to produce a summary table. First, let's not perform Bonferroni's test. And we'll see overall differences there or not. So you click this and you press OK. You got a nice table. Yeah. This is the marital status. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Who is having the highest purchase intention? Single parents. 3.7. No partner to listen music. No, therefore I think single parents 3.7. Who is having, yeah, no. Others category has the highest. In fact, 3.75 other category has. Then after that, single parents. Then who is having the lowest purchase intention? Single people. Surprising. I think they have enough music to listen. Right? Maybe they have other sources of music. And then 3.4. Likewise, you can see differences are there. But is it significant? Are these differences significant on an overall basis? That's what we can look at here. You look at the sig value. The sig value indicator is 0.48, 0.49. So what's your conclusion? What's your conclusion? There's no difference. On an overall basis, there's no significant difference. Right? How we can put that in the 4-step testing strategy? First of all, null hypothesis. Always, right, I took the shortcut, but again, when you write the things, write these 4 steps. Step number 1. What's step number 1? Establish the null hypothesis. What's the null hypothesis? There's no difference in terms of purchase intention among these groups, marital groups. No difference. Marital groups do not have a difference in terms of their purchase intention of this premium version of the music. That's a null hypothesis. Then decision criteria. If the sig value or the p value is less than 0.05, reject it. Then step number 3, using stata, perform one-way analysis and see the sig value. The sig value is 0.4856, which is below 0.05. Not below, it's above, well above 0.05. So you come to the conclusion. What's your conclusion? Conclusion is that since the sig value, calculated sig value 0.48 is well above 0.05, you reject. No, you cannot reject the null hypothesis. Since it's well above 0.05, you cannot reject the null hypothesis. You cannot reject that there's no difference. That means there's no difference. Right? There's no difference based on the marital status regarding the purchase intention of the premium version of the music app. So that's your conclusion. But next question asks, are there any individual differences? Isn't it? Are there any individual differences? Right, that's what the next question asks, right? Individual differences there. Okay, sometimes. Okay. Specific differences. How to do that? Invoke what? Bond-Ferrannese analysis. Under post-hoc analysis, you do a post-hoc analysis, right? Called Bond-Ferrannese. Of course, you can run Tukey's post-hoc as well, but Bond-Ferrannese analysis will do, right? So how to run that? Again, you will go here. And let me expand it so you can see much better. So statistics, summaries, no linear models, one way of ANOVA, right? And you will go to one way ANOVA. And you have the same all information, that's good, but just pick one Ferrari, that's all. Multiple comparison and press OK. Now Bond-Ferrannese analysis, again with all the information, Bond-Ferrannese analysis is given. Now look at Bond-Ferrannese analysis. Are groups on an individual basis different from each other? Are they different? Sig value, look at the sig values. No, all sig values are around 1. So our conclusion is, in terms of individual differences also, we don't see any difference between the groups taken on an individual basis. Right? That's what is it. There's no difference. Bond-Ferrannese analysis. And if you want, you can perform a Tukey's analysis as well. How to perform a Tukey's analysis? Can you remember Tukey's analysis? Right? How to perform a Tukey's analysis? So here, t-test and ANOVA. So let's run a Tukey's as well. Too large. Okay, let's make it small. Tukey's in the last slide. Okay, you run this one. You have to run first a small regression. So let's put that over here. So I'm going to enlarge it. Okay, now let's run a Tukey, which will give almost the same. There's no life satisfaction. We have purchase intention. So I'm going to put purchase intention over there. Regress purchase intention. There's no marital groups. There is marital status groups. So view profile. Status. So this marital status, and then here again, it's here marital status. Read properly, not where they are, to give error messages. Marital status, and this it. Right, purchase intention, effects. So you'll run this too. It gives a nice comparative table. Let me make it smaller, then you can see it's much better. Now it compares all. Yes, did a student want to ask me a question? No. But you can see Tukey's, you can see Tukey's significant levels are given. Here also, all significant levels are well above 0.05. So you can see Bond-Ferrannese and Tukey gives almost a similar result. Right? So if someone wants this one, which I ran, so I'll give that to you. So this the regress. So if you want, I can give that to you. I put that under. So if you want to run it, then regress, and then this one. Two commands has to be run. I put both here. These are the two commands that you're drawing. So I'll put under comments. So let me first put it here. I'll put it to the Teams chat. Better to chat together in the chat. Right, okay. So you can run this as separate commands, huh? Maybe there is one. The student is asking a curious question. Sir, can we have the records of online sessions? Of course, why not? It is. Ask the management. I'm recording it and of course you can get it from the management. That's the idea. Right? Management එක පුදාහන්න මේ දෙයි. By all means, මේවා ඉතින් තියාගෙන මොකටද? So the best thing is to share. Sharing is caring, isn't it? Okay, so under specific difference also, we did not see any difference. Right? So now we have the answer for now second research objective. Now actually third research objective, we saw examine the relationship. We saw that all had significant positive relationship despite some were weak and some were moderate. But all 6 independent variables had, so we achieved C also relationship. And we also achieved the second objective. Gender-wise, we understood there is no difference regarding person's intention. Marital status-wise also, we did not see any difference. So now we have achieved 3 objectives. Within this short time, we achieved 3 objectives. One more objective to achieve, that's the impact. To check the impact, what's the analysis we do? We perform the final analysis, which is called the regression. But before that, we can develop 6 hypotheses. Right? We can develop 6 hypotheses. We can say H1. Can someone tell what are the 6 hypotheses that you test under regression analysis? So see the impact, you have to develop 6 hypotheses. What are 6 hypotheses? Very simple. H1. Right? Opinion, you can write opinion, leadership, has a significant impact on the purchase intention of the music premium app. So what you do is when you write the hypothesis for the regression analysis, you write it in this manner. This is for the regression. State appropriate hypothesis is case given above. So appropriate hypothesis, let's say for the regression analysis. For the regression. Analysis. Further. Yes, above. Actually, it is for the 4th hypothesis, 4th objective. 4th objective is where you are trying to see the impact. Right? You are going to see the impact. Opinion leadership has a significant impact on the purchase intention of the music premium app. And what's the next variable? What's the next one? Functional. Likewise, you can write, take one by one independent variables and say that there's a significant impact. You can say functional. Likewise, for each variable. So you can write 6 hypotheses because you have 6 independent variables. Right. I'm not going to write all, but again, I think you got a point. So it's 3, H4, H5, and H6. And always put a colon after that. So for each independent variable, you can write a hypothesis, functional value, right? Likewise, functional value. Then the next one is social value, emotional value, epistemic value. And you can say that has a significant impact. Okay. Now, how to test this hypothesis, right? For the impact for the fourth objective, what you can do is you can perform a regression analysis, which you are very familiar, right? Now I'm going to perform a regression analysis. So let's write down this functional value. Let's write down in order functional value. But let's see. What are the variables that we had? Okay, these are the variables. Opinion leadership. Then we have functional value, opinion leadership, right? Opinion leadership, functional value. Then we have emotional value. Let's see, emotional. I'll take same thing, put it top here. I'll say emotional value. Right. Then let's go next in conditional value. Conditional. Conditional. Right, conditional value. Then epistemic value. Epistemic value. Epistemic value. Then social value. 667 social value. Right. So you have your six variables, 6 hypotheses, right? For the 6 independent variables, you have the 6 hypotheses. So you write hypothesis for the regression analysis like this. You see the impact. Significant variables, right? Then to test this, what you can do is now you can perform a regression analysis. Or perform regression analysis. Don't think I need to teach you that. Right? Okay. I even taught you how to test tricky assumptions. Huh? So statistics, linear models and related, and we'll go to regression, isn't it? Linear regression. So what's the dependent variable? Versus intention, the last variable. And what are the independent variables? The 6 independent variables you can put. You can say, you can take opinion leadership, functional value, emotional value, conditional value, epistemic value, and social value. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? That's all. You don't need to check anything of these things. You have press OK. Right. Now let's answer the questions that it asks. Right. The question asks, first question is, based on the regression results, comment on the overall model validity. Let's go and see. What can we say? The overall model valid. Overall model valid. Look at what? This one. Probability of the F test. Yes, indeed, it's less than 0.05. So in that case, you can say the overall model is valid. The overall model is valid, isn't it? That's what you can say. The next question. Comment on the explanatory power of the model. How can you say the estimated power? You look at the R square value. R square value is only 0.42. You convert that to percentage, 42%. So what it says is these 6 independent variables could explain only 42%, approximately 42% of the variation of the purchase intention. Is it good? Not so good. That means there is 58% of the variation is explained by some other variables other than these 6 variables we have considered under this model, under this tab. That's your interpretation. Right. Okay. So we come into that. Now we'll see very important, state whether the hypotheses are supported or not. Right. So if you want to answer this question, state whether we have 6 hypotheses. Now, are these supported or not? State whether these hypotheses are supported or not. What you're going to do is you are going to see now the individual significance levels. Yeah. Opinion leadership. Is it significant? These are the individual significance levels. Is it significant? No. The significance level is 0.12. We expect this to be less than 0.05. So we say opinion leadership does not have a significant impact. So H1 is not supported. H1 says what? I think you can remember. H1 is indicating here. Right? H1 says you got here. Opinion leadership has significant impact. Right? Hypothesis, right? Opinion leadership is not supported by the sig value is less than 0.05. And how about the next one? Next one also not supported. Functional value is 0.776. Again, it's well above 0.05, not supported. Emotional value, not supported. Conditional value, not supported. How about epistemic value? Epistemic value, the sig value is less than 0.05. So in that case, right, this particular H5 is supported. H5 is supported. How about social value? Social value is also supported. As you can see, both are less than 0.05 and both have positive impact. So only 2 hypotheses out of 6 are supported under the regression analysis. Right, exactly. Only 2 hypotheses are supported. So H5 and H6 are only, these 2 are only supported. So that's what you have to state whether the hypotheses are supported or not. You could say H1 to H4 not supported, H5 and H6 supported. That's what you could say. Then finally, recommend strategies to increase purchase intention. So what kind of strategies you could include? I have told you, do not, again remember, do not provide any recommendations for insignificant variables. Here you saw only 2 variables are significant. What are those? Epistemic value and social value. So what you need to do is recommend strategies. You could recommend to increase, because it has a positive impact, epistemic value and social value to increase the purchase intent. Don't give opinion leadership, functional value. No, don't comment on those things because those are insignificant. I told you very clearly when I taught you regression analysis that when you give strategies, right, to increase or decrease a certain dependent variable, right, you need to give that based on what is significant. And that's it. So based on the findings, comment on the objectives of the study. So we have achieved all objectives. We have achieved all objectives. Now let's go to the objectives of the study. We had 4 objectives. The level of purchase intention, it was around 3.5, which we interpreted as quite not good, right? Not so high purchase intention. Then difference, best of based on different, right? We understood under the independent sample research, gender did not difference, right? Make a difference between the purchase on the purchase intention. Parental status also did not have an impact. It did not create any differences. Then the relationship, yes, it had relationships. All the independent variable had on a bivariate basis a relationship with purchase intention. Then the impact of the 6 independent, only 2 variables had an impact, that's the epistemic value and the social value. So all 4 objectives are achieved. Okay. Right. We started around 7:35 and now it's exactly 10:30. I covered through this example up to now the entire syllabus that we discussed up to last week by using a practical example. Right? Why did I do that? One, you should see past papers. Right? This is the first question. Okay. Second reason why I did, so I could have done this at the end of the semester, but no, I'm doing this now because you can apply the same way of doing things for your individual assignment. Then 3, also you can apply this to the extended group assignment. So you are adding time. Okay. Any questions? And probably this Saturday, this Sunday we are going to meet now. We'll do a group exercise, which will be given marks, of course. So therefore, revise this and come, because the class participation is very, very poor. How many students are there? Many students. Very small number is there. There is only 41 people. Okay, not a small, but again, not adequate. So I want to make sure that this video is watched by all. So ask the management if you want to get access to this video. Today itself, send an email to them if you are unable to access. And good luck. Any questions?
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, Puta.
This is regarding the individual assignment.
Of course.
There, in the individual assignment, in the guidelines, you have said that we should take 10 variables.